Good morning. Good morning. I'm Reverend Dr. Suzi Schadle. I'm the interim minister here at Suncoast Center for Spiritual Living, and I'm glad that you're here with us today. It was a good place to be. And, you know, I want to remind you that this isn't just a good place to be for you, but it's good that you're in this place, because what happens here together, what happens individually, what happens collectively as we gather, is that we send out that vibration of light and love and truth by being here and getting it for ourselves and then sharing it with the world. So I want to piggyback a little bit on what Tom said, that we can choose to focus on what's going on in the world. And we get that. Thank you. Somebody's going to turn this echo down. I like being repeated but not echoed. We can choose to focus on what's going on in the world that we don't like. And there's a lot going on. And I think in some fashion we have called it up by setting the very powerful intention and vision of creating a world that works for everyone. Because when we do that, we call out all that is unlike that. We call it out from the shadows, out into the light, so that we can see it, and we can heal it, we can transmute it into the world that we wish to live in. And so it is very important that we acknowledge what's so. There are some things that are not pretty going on in the world right now. There are some things going on in your own lives that are probably not pretty. It's important to acknowledge this is what's so, but put your energy and attention on what's wanted. That's where all the energy goes, because we will then attract all that is like that. And it's also a reason not only to come here, but to deepen and expand this spiritual community so that it can be a beacon of love and light and truth and peace in this world. This is something that I'm asking you to do not only as a privilege, but as a responsibility. To deepen and commit to and to grow and expand and explode out this community so that others may find what we have found. Are you willing to do that with me? Are you willing to do that with me?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, more than any time I think in my entire ministry, I believe that it is absolutely critical that we be as powerfully who we are as we possibly can. More than any time in my ministry. The time is now. We're being called. We are the people. This is the time. And we are it. Okay? End of that sermon. Next. I was wanting to be able to say, end of sermon. Not really, just kidding. So here's part of why it's so important that we be centered and really understand who we are and the powerful spiritual technology that we have to share. Part of the reason is because we are both human and divine simultaneously. We are both human and divine at the same moment. Sometimes we lean an awful lot into our humanness, and other times we lean more into our divinity. But what if we just be both of those things powerfully and fully all the time? Because the reality is that we're having two simultaneous journeys of life experience at the same time. Well, that's what simultaneous means. See, I knew I was right. Okay. So one of those journeys is the horizontal outer journey, which is that outer experience that we have. That is the doingness of us. That's the human experience. And the second journey is a vertical inner journey. It's a vertical inner journey that is the spirit within us. It's that higher calling of our most authentic beingness. That's the being journey. So we've got a horizontal and a vertical journey happening at the same time. And sometimes we get mixed up when we think that outer horizontal journey, hey, that's it, that's the real reality. It's not, it's just a slice of it. It's not the fullness of capital R reality. Capital R reality is that higher calling where we really, it's almost like our teaching symbol. I wish I had a board, a chalkboard now. I'd show you how well I draw circles. If you look at our teaching symbol, it's a circle with what looks like a V coming down the center. And you know, that V thing is very, very important because it is the descent of spirit into form, into our human experience. And that's constantly happening because we're constantly creating by pulling that spirit into our experience, or not. We're not. Sometimes we're recreating the same experience over and over and over again. And then, why does this keep happening to me? Because you keep recreating that same experience. You want a new experience, pull down a different aspect of spirit. Or as the quantum physicists would say, we've got this infinite wave of possibility, and we literally collapse that infinite wave of possibility into a particular experience. Same thing, spirit into human form, into the human experience, or collapsing quantum reality into a particular experience. We are at choice to do that. So it's important that we understand this simultaneous horizontal and vertical journey of what it is to be human and divine. And it's important that we align those two journeys so that they work together. Instead of thinking of them as my human life and my divine life, think of them as one life. There is only one life. It is the life of spirit, and each one of us is experiencing that one life. But we experience it with some form of individuality. Otherwise, 99% of us would be redundant. So we're all necessary. We're all parts of that thread of the fabric of life. Each one of us is a strand in that, and we create the full fabric. So know how important you are. And it's important that we live from and fully express our authentic beingness, not our titles or the roles that we play, but our authentic beingness everywhere that we are. One of my favorite philosophers, Unknown, you know Unknown, you know that one, yeah, you know that's one of my favorite, and his other brother Unknown, yeah. So Unknown wrote this. You think somebody who wrote smart things would put their name next to it. So Unknown said, be who you are and let go of who you are not. Simple. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be easy. Because so many of us are playing roles or hiding behind masks of who we are not, and we're not busy about the job of being who we truly are. So let go of who you are not so that you can be fully who you truly are. Be that in the world. Let that shine out in the world. Yesterday, actually Tom and Barley and I and a number of other practitioners and ministers did what we call practitioner licensing panels yesterday, and that's where practitioners, student graduates who are sitting at panels for their licensing so that they can become professional practitioners. We sit in front of a panel with 3 people, and we ask them all kinds of questions and make them nervous and everything, and then we decide whether they're going to be practitioners or not. And I'm really thrilled to see that some of these folks are living their practitionerhood out in life. They're not saying, I'm a practitioner on Sunday and I'm this human person the rest of the time. But one in particular is, he is so fully taking what it is to be a practitioner into his work life, into everything that he does in a very powerful way. He's changing people's lives without them even realizing what's going on. He's taking it to the streets. That's where it belongs. This stuff that we're talking about every Sunday, it doesn't belong in here. This is just like a booster shot. This belongs in the streets. This belongs all over the world. This belongs in you modeling it by who you are. That's where it belongs. That's where the true ministry happens. That's where the true transformation happens. This is just, you're getting an extra little dose. Hopefully you are. It's important that we be who it is that we've come here to be, each one of us. Because, Jesse can't do me and I can't do you. We've got to do who we are. We've got to be who we are. So it's important that we be who we've come here to be and that we do what we've come here to do. Every single one of us has a calling. You hear that a lot of times with ministers or practitioners. Oh, I had a calling. Oh, what was your calling? We all have a calling. We're all called, and we're called to be who we truly are and to express that as fully and most powerfully as we can. That will change the world. That will create a world that works for everyone. That will create a life we love to live. That. Simple, but not easy. Because we've set up all kinds of obstacles and roadblocks to us being that. And you know, we try really hard to be and to do stuff. I'm just really getting this now. It's really not about trying hard to be and to do stuff. It's about letting go. Let go of all the BS. That's belief system, for those of you who are going in the Let go of all the belief system that prevents you from letting go and being who you truly are. You know, I wish I'd understood this earlier in life, but I'm understanding it later in life, that it really takes a whole lot less energy to be who I truly am than to be all of the roles and the masks and the things that I thought I should be. It's taken me, unfortunately, at least the first half of my life to figure that out, possibly part of the second half. In the third half of my life, I should be pretty good. You can see that math is my strong suit. One half equals one whole. Yeah. Okay. Got it. So, if we come and be who it is that we're here to be and to do what we're here to do, truly, the outer doing arises out of the inner being, and it unfolds with ease and effortlessness. It just flows. It becomes. You know, we do that by releasing, by letting go of who we are not and what is not mine to do. Let go of what is not me and what is not mine to do. Let go of it. Somebody else, it's for someone else. They'll handle it. You know, they'll handle it. And then we're free to flow authentically and powerfully with ease and grace and peace in the world. I'm convinced that a lot of the unrest in the world is because too many people are being who they're not. Too many people don't know or don't feel that they have the privilege or the right or the freedom to be who they truly are. That causes people to get really funky in their mind and do crazy things. So I'm going to ask you to consider some questions. Consider these questions. Where are you? Where do you think you are in your horizontal journey of life? Where do you think you are? You may have been many places, but where do you think you are in your horizontal journey, your human experience? Where do you think you are on your vertical journey, your spiritual experience, your beingness experience? Where do you think you are? And here's a big question. Do you think those two journeys are in alignment? Are they in alignment with your true self? Are they in alignment with each other? Or do you feel yourself sort of at odds with yourself? How can you focus and accelerate your inner journey, your inner experience, to be the intentional cause of your outer journey or your outer experience? How can you center and get clear on your inner journey so that it impacts and informs your outer journey? That's a contemplation I'd love you to spend some time with this week. I think you'll see some changes in maybe some of the choices that you make, or some of the ideas that you get, or the conclusions that you draw. You know, it's so easy in this day and age of, you know, instant news to jump to conclusions rather than to really get centered and think powerfully, make powerful choices. Alan Cohen says, your point of attention is your point of attraction. Your point of attention. So what we give our attention to is what we attract to us. So make powerful choices. Make powerful choices. You know, align inwardly with who you've come here to be, and it will express outwardly in what you've come here to do. And I guarantee it'll make life easier. It actually makes life easier. So let go. You know, let go and relax, sort of surrender into that. That's a more powerful energy than resistance is. You know, we resist so many things, and that it takes a lot of energy, but it doesn't give us a lot of energy. You know, anxiety and defensiveness and worry and attachment, that's all hard work. I don't know if you realize that. That is hard work. Don't you, when you're feeling anxious and defensive and attached and all that stuff, don't you feel kind of tired? You feel a little exhausted? That's because it's hard work. It drains your energy. It drains your energy to engage in that. Now, grace and calm and peace, that's easy. That's not hard. It's easy. And it actually gives you energy. It increases your energy. And it gives you energy for other things, for other pursuits. Our authentic inner beingness must be our priority. That vertical journey, that inner journey, that beingness, our authenticity must be our priority. And when it is, it impacts and reflects in our outer affairs. And it reflects with peace and ease and grace and balance and simplicity. We start with that inner self as priority. It's mirrored out there. Things begin to, you know how sometimes you feel like you're in the flow. There's a synchronicity that happens. That's not an accident, people. It means that you connected with who you truly are at the very center of your being. That's what it means. And you can do that intentionally. Sometimes I think it's sort of accidental. We accidentally bump into something good, you know? It's like, oh, hey, I do that with golf. You know, like I'll hit the golf one. I'm like, I don't even have to look where it's going. I can feel it. It's like, oh, that's nice. Now, can I do that the next shot? No. Because now I've gotten attached to being good. And the next shot is on the other fairway. Like, whoa, who did that? Oh, that would be you taking charge of everything. So, same kind of thing, whatever your metaphor is, think about that. But we actually can recreate it. You know, when I was a kid, I learned this, and then of course, as I got to be an adult, I unlearned it. That's what we do. We unlearn the wisdom that we have as children. When I was a kid, I knew intuitively, instinctively, that if I was having a bad day, you know, life was tough at age 12, you know, how tough it can be. I would go and I'd go in my room and I'd play my music. I'd play my flute for like an hour, and I come out and suddenly the whole world had changed. Life was good. So I remember thinking, gosh, if I could just somehow capture that feeling that happens for me with music, that handles everything, if I could just capture that feeling and intentionally cause that to happen in every circumstance, wow. Wow, I'm still working on it. Still working on it. Because, you know, you can't whip out a flute every time, you know. Although I've been asked to do that at the TSA thing at the airport before, you know, that, the big one especially, they think it's, you know, plumbing or something when you take it through the thing. They go, oh, that's a flute. No, it's not. Yeah, you guys pull it out, play a little bit, and concentrate. But if, you know, whatever it is, when you actually bump into that time of centeredness for yourself, then really feel that, really get a good sense of it, really embody that, so that when the next road bump comes or the roadblock comes, you can move into that feeling again and be powerful in that circumstance. We can do that. Unknown's brother, who was also a philosopher, said that, you know, hard work pays off in the future, way in the future. That's that, you know, trying to make things happen, blah, you know, our lives, and then we get to retire and move to Florida. You know, that hard work pays off way in the future. But ease pays off right now. And guess what? And when ease pays off right now, it sets us up for a payoff in the future as well. So when confronted with ease or hard work, choose ease. It's like, we're allowed to do that? Yeah, you are. Let go of the Puritan work ethic. I'm not saying you don't have an ethic, but I'm saying there's a way to be ethical in an easy way. It doesn't have to be hard work. You know, consider, just for a moment, because I know this happened for all of us, consider for a moment sometime that that you felt that sense of, wow, this is tough, this is hard, I'm bumping up against a wall. And you worked really hard to overcome it. You know, how did that really turn out for you? I mean, it takes some of the joy out of accomplishment when you have to work so hard and spend so much energy, you don't have any energy left to enjoy it. But think about when you've allowed things to come easily, what joy and what energy you have to totally enjoy that at the conclusion. Ease. Brings up a song, summertime and the living is easy. You know, why not? Why not? It's too hot to work hard anyway, right? So, what I'm inviting us to do is to move our inner consciousness from fear and worry and anxiety to faith. Move from fear to faith. You know, let go of intimidation, of being intimidated or feeling pressured or from panic or anxiety or fear. Let go of that. Because when we use fear as our guide, we're left with unreliable and not very valuable choices. We're not left with good stuff at all. Fear does not guide us to a good place. Anxiety, anger, that sense of disconnection, all that does is result in our least creative and our least effective self. That's not our authentic self, by the way, but it's certainly the least of us. Now, if we let faith in spirit lead us, a whole different thing happens. We let go of fear as false evidence appearing real, what we talked about last week. We let go of that. And what we do is we embrace finding everything all right. Let go of fear and anxiety and find everything all right. And spirit will guide us to that. And that relaxed, clear-mindedness of ours, that will lead us to our most creative and most effective self. And the results will be magnificent because we're moving ourselves into possibility. I love what Audrey Hepburn said about the word impossible. The word impossible says, I'm possible. I'm possible. Think about that. There is nothing that is impossible. I'm possible. So, you know, another thing, I'm not saying that we don't have adversity that comes up, that we don't have challenges that come up, that the human experience doesn't have some speed bumps along the way. It certainly does. But we can make a choice, again, we can make a choice to use adversity or challenges as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. You know, we can make that choice. We can either get tripped up by them or we can skip to the loop over them, right? I'm on a musical thing today. So let me tell you a little story about somebody who might have benefited from knowing that there was a choice to either use these as stepping stones or stumbling blocks. So this guy was shipwrecked on this island. He was there by himself, and he made himself a little camp, a little hut. And so he was cooking breakfast one morning on his little campfire, and he saw a ship going by on the horizon. And so he ran down to the beach, and he's jumping and screaming and waving wildly, but the ship didn't see him. The ships don't see, but the people on the ship. The people on the ship. I love how you. The ship didn't see him. The crew on the ship did not see him, so they kept on sailing by. And the man was just, he was bummed. And so he kind of, trudged back up to his little hut, only to discover that the hut was on fire from the little campfire he'd left there. And so now he just sat down and started weeping, and he's totally into a depression. And finally fell asleep, cried himself to sleep. Well, the next morning, the crew from the ship is like waking him up. And they're going, hey, buddy, wake up, wake up. And he looks up in total amazement. He goes, wow, how did you find me? And the crew says, well, we followed your smoke signal. So what looked like adversity, what looked like a stumbling block, was actually a stepping stone to his rescue. So the truth is that tragedy, and we see tragedy, it is part of the human experience, and we see tragedy, but tragedy actually can be a step toward awakening to a greater possibility. Our current events are that. Look at the things that are going on are awakening people And lots more people are saying, there's another way. There's another possibility. Groups that were at odds are starting to come together and starting to dialogue. It's a small opening, but it's an opening. It's an awakening. I remember before the Iraq War started, my whole congregation and I were in deep prayer for peace. We were not praying against war, we were praying for peace. It's important to be for something and against nothing. You don't need to worry about the againstness if you're for something. So we're praying for that. Well, and of course the war did start, right? And I remember people saying, wow, man, we prayed so hard. I said, yeah, but look, yes, we did not stop the war, but there's more peace on this planet than there was before we started praying. There are more people on this planet praying for peace than ever before in human history. That's an opening, that's an awakening. So just because something doesn't go from black to white immediately, don't think that nothing's happening, it is. You ever watch those old-timey percolators? Doesn't seem like anything, you're going to get any coffee anytime soon, but then, boop, 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 boop. I remember that, they used to do a commercial like that. Boop, 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 boop. So know that, if we hold that intention, that the good that we are intending is percolating, and eventually, what we resist persists, and what we deny tends to increase. Ernest Holmes said that we don't deny that the human experience is real. What we deny is that it must continue in any limited or negative way. So we move into that greater possibility, but we must awaken first. Fear faced with love and light and peace flees. That we resist hangs on to us. It festers. So face it with love and light and peace and truth, and let it flee. Let go of your resistance to fear, because it frees that positive energy within you to be creative in that possible moment, to flow with freedom and possibility. Reframe that outer challenge so that it becomes an opportunity to rise in our vertical journey. Let go of that outer challenge. When we're confronted with a setback that appears as though it's a defeat, we can reframe it. I love this quote by Dan McKenna. He says, people are like tea bags. They don't know their own strength until they get into hot water. It's true. We don't know what we're capable of until we're challenged in some way. And then suddenly, strengths we didn't even know we had, creativity we didn't know we could come up with, presents itself if we're open, if we're centered, if we're being authentic, if we're allowing spirit to flow through us. Look for the gift. Look for the gift in setbacks. I guarantee you there always is one. There's always a gift in setbacks. That's that stepping stone. Let go of repeating old negative thoughts. If we repeat, if you've always done what you always, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So that's the definition of insanity. If you keep thinking the same negative, funky thoughts and expecting a different result, you're nuts. That's not going to happen. That's not how it works. You have to have a new thought, a new intention to create a new experience. And that does work. So do not repeat those old, funky, negative thoughts and relive those old experiences. Do not repeat those. You're going to love this. I'm going to ask you to repent instead. Oh, we love that, don't we? Oh, let's all repent. No. Repent comes from the French word repense, which simply means to rethink, to think again, to rethink, and thereby to reframe and to re-empower ourselves. So repent, rethink, reframe, and re-empower ourselves. It's kind of like, now I'm dating myself. You remember Pac-Man? The little Pac-Man, gobble, 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 gobbles all the ghosts, gobbles up all the ghosts, and redirects the energy and gains power. So I want you to think about what disempowering stories or thoughts or ideas do you repeat to yourself and thereby re-experience something that you really don't want to re-experience. Think about that. And let go of those stories. Let go of those stories. Stay alert. Stay alert. You must stay awake to the tendencies to repeat those bad experiences. You know, we have a tendency to repeat bad experiences because we want people to commiserate with us or something. So let go of those, because when we repeat them, we simply are employing words that disempower us, and we move ourselves into victimhood. You know, so let go of those bad stories and those funky negative words and stop victimizing yourself. Substitute words of power, words of positivity, and stories that empower you and lift you up. It changes you. It changes your chemistry even. Literally changes your chemistry. You know, scientists are proving, and we've got our spiritual living group, the positivity group. You guys should be doing dances and stuff here pretty quick, right? Yeah. So yeah, positivity, it changes you. Can change your chemical balance within you. It's a powerful thing. So let go of fighting or resisting. And if you're going to do any kind of thing, apply spiritual martial arts instead. Right? And the way you do that is you take againstness energy, and you transmute it and redirect it into be for energy. Be for something. Then you don't have to put any thought, energy, or attention at all on againstness. It's all about be for. Be for something. Be for what it is that you want to experience. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Be that. Because where we focus our energy and attention, we get increase. What we focus that energy and attention on increases in our lives and in our experience. You know, this is an important thing. From the Arabic word trouble means to take another view. Trouble means, or problem means to take another view. To take another view. And it invites us to have a higher perspective. So problem becomes, have another view. Have a new thought about it. Be mindful of the power of your own word and move yourself from victim to victor. From victimized to victorious. Transmute setback into setup. So a setback can be a setup for a new experience. Transmute detour into course correction. You know, you got to do that all the time anyway, because the wind or the waves are going to set you off course. Crisis then becomes opportunity. It's an opportunity to do something different. Failure becomes experience. I mean, we learn more from our failures than we do from our successes because we have to get creative. We have to reach into that teabag strength of ours. Trouble becomes challenge, and problem becomes a project. You know, the energy by which we approach these things changes the outcomes. Richard Bach, who wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull and numerous other wonderful books, Illusions, one of my favorites, he said that every problem comes to you with a gift in its hands. If you think about it that way, when challenges or speed bumps or roadblocks or anything approaches you or you approach it, think of it as, wow, there's going to be a pony in here somewhere. All right. Yeah, some of you have heard that story. Have ponies. So, be brave, courageous enough, free enough, powerful enough, centered enough to bless all of your experiences, those that appear negative and the ones that appear positive, and look for the gift in every single one of them. I guarantee we are not presented with a challenge or defeat without a gift in it as well, if we just look. And again, Alan Cohen teaches this. Do not pay a lot of attention or give energy to the situation from which you are trying to release yourself. Instead, talk about where you would like to be and how it will feel to be there. That feeling is very important. Then, step ahead confidently and expect positive results. When peace and ease are at the heart of your choices, every step will bless you. The entire journey will be a blessing. Remove your consciousness from what is not working, and you will find a cornucopia of what is working. Change that perspective. Have a new thought. Repent. Rethink. Reframe, re-empower yourself. Problem, another point of view. Try it. I think you'll like it. And blessings on your journey of being free in the flow of letting go of what no longer serves, and begin by letting go of all that does not support who you've come here to be and what it is that you've come here to do. And then live the life that you love to live. Live the life you love to live, not the one that somebody handed to you or expected you to love or to live, or that you even set yourself up for. Live the life you truly love to live, and I guarantee you will not only be blessed, you'll be a blessing to the rest of the world. And we will start to create truly a world that works for everyone. So blessings on your journey. Be free. Be who you truly are. So it is.